Beneath its worrying appearance, it hides a vital role in the balance of ecosystems. The Griffon vulture, Gyps fulvus, is one of the largest birds of prey in Europe and one of the most emblematic representatives of the Old World vultures. Scientifically, it belongs to the order Accipitriformes, the family Accipitridae, and the genus Gyps, which includes several large soaring vultures specialized in feeding on carrion. Unlike New World vultures such as the condors of the Americas, the Griffon vulture belongs to a lineage of raptors that is truly related to eagles, buzzards, and kites. It is therefore indeed a bird of prey, but one highly specialized in the natural removal of carcasses. With its massive silhouette and majestic flight, the Griffon vulture is instantly impressive. The adult measures about 110 centimeters in length, with a wingspan of 2.40 to 2.80 meters, and a weight generally ranging from 8 to 11 kilograms. Its pale body, tawny to light brown in color, contrasts with its long dark flight feathers. Its head, covered with whitish down, is extended by a slender neck surrounded by a collar of pale feathers. This feature is not merely aesthetic. The sparsely feathered head reduces soiling when the bird feeds deep inside carcasses. Its powerful beak, pale horn-colored, is designed for tearing flesh, while its legs, relatively weak and not built for grasping, clearly show that it is not a hunter of live prey like an eagle. The Griffon vulture is a true master of the sky. Its wings are enormous, broad, and perfectly adapted to soaring flight. It relies heavily on rising air currents to gain altitude and travel great distances with minimal effort. Instead of flapping continuously, this large bird circles upward in thermals and then glides across valleys, plateaus, and cliffs. Its speed varies depending on the aerial conditions, but what truly sets it apart is not pure top speed. It is its exceptional energy efficiency. It can search for food for hours with almost no visible fatigue, allowing it to cover immense territories in search of a carcass. Its habitat perfectly matches this way of life. The Griffon vulture mainly inhabits open landscapes, warm and well-exposed areas with large rocky reliefs, cliffs, ledges, and zones of middle or high mountains with dry conditions. It is found across a broad range, extending from northwestern Africa to much of southern Europe, the Balkans, and into parts of Central Asia. It almost always nests on inaccessible rock faces, which offer better protection for the young from terrestrial predators. This close link with cliffs explains its presence in large Mediterranean mountain systems, the Pyrenees, the Caucasus, parts of the Balkans, and other mountain regions that provide suitable nesting conditions. Within the ecological hierarchy of vultures, the Griffon vulture is a strict scavenger. This means that it feeds exclusively on carcasses and does not normally hunt live prey. Its eyesight is remarkable, and it is primarily through vision that it locates dead animals. When one individual finds a food source, its behavior quickly attracts other vultures, and large gatherings can soon form around the same carcass. The Griffon vulture mainly consumes soft tissues, which it tears apart with its powerful beak. In doing so, it plays a highly specific role in the natural recycling of organic matter. In just a few hours, a carcass can be stripped in a spectacular way. This feeding behavior gives the species enormous ecological importance. The Griffon vulture acts as a natural sanitary agent. By rapidly removing the carcasses of wild or domestic animals, it limits the spread of certain pathogens in the environment and reduces the availability of food resources that could attract other opportunistic scavengers. In pastoral mountain landscapes, this function is particularly valuable. Where vultures are present in sufficient numbers, they contribute to an extremely efficient, discreet, and cost-free cleaning cycle, benefiting both ecosystems and extensive livestock farming. The Griffon vulture is also a highly social bird. It often lives in colonies, flies in loose groups, and nests close to other individuals of its kind. Pairs are generally monogamous and may remain together for a long time. Its breeding cycle is slow, which is typical of large raptors. The nest is a relatively simple structure made of branches, sometimes lined with various materials and placed on a ledge in a cavity or on a rocky shelf. The female usually lays a single egg each year, generally in winter, often around the month of January. Incubation lasts about 48 to 55 days, and the chick remains dependent for more than 110 days before it can fly. This means that one young vulture requires many months of parental care before fledging. This reproductive strategy explains why the species remains vulnerable to certain disturbances. One chick per year is very little. If food becomes scarce, if the nesting site is disturbed, or if an adult dies, the breeding season of a pair may be compromised for the entire year. Young birds, meanwhile, are more mobile than adults. While mature birds are often sedentary, immature individuals may undertake long dispersal movements, sometimes toward Africa, before later returning to areas favorable for breeding. For a long time, the Griffon vulture faced heavy pressure. The main current threats include poisoning, toxic exposure, illegal shooting in some areas, as well as collisions or electrocution linked to human infrastructure, especially certain power lines, and depending on the context, poorly located energy installations. Added to this are disturbances around breeding colonies and changes in food availability. Despite this, several protection, monitoring, and reintroduction programs have allowed some European populations to recover in a remarkable way. Today, on a global scale, the Griffon vulture is classified as least concern, and its overall population trend is considered increasing. This does not mean that all danger has disappeared, but rather that the species is doing better globally than in the past thanks to conservation efforts and legal protection in several countries. Some local populations nevertheless remain fragile, reminding us that a large scavenger with slow reproduction depends heavily on the stability of its environment. The Griffon vulture, therefore, embodies an essential truth of nature. The species that are most misunderstood are sometimes among the most useful. Because it feeds on death, this bird contributes directly to the health of life. Its beak tears, its wings carry, its eyes detect, but its entire ecological role rests on an invisible mission, preventing the mountains from being burdened by their dead. Far from being a sinister scavenger, the Griffon vulture is a pillar of natural balance, a giant of the sky, and one of the finest examples of functional elegance in the wild world.